thank you for joining us today, Derek, by the way.
Yeah, no, of course. And thanks for the invite, and even in general, thanks for helping me get involved in this community. So yeah, kind of the background of how I ended up, well, in the space in general, just kind of a general curiosity for, decentralized systems. Starting around 4 years ago, it's kind of just started reading a little bit about it, and then dove into the rabbit hole, and joined a bunch of communities, mostly centered around governance and tokenomics, like trying to just kind of dive into that and see what's interesting about it. Where can I contribute? Where can I bring value? Some of the places I was able to do that was at Bankless Consulting, doing some projects around, educational workshops and token strategy projects and stuff like that. Nothing really very like hard um, engineering or anything like that. But then I decided that I did want to kind of get into more of an engineering path. So kind of was looking for different opportunities to kind of flex my skills, or at least strengthen them where I could. And one of them that I saw was the Outlier Venture team launched this quantitative token model. They launched this article and then followed it up with the spreadsheet that basically seemed like a very good culmination of a lot of tokenomics consulting work that I've seen in the past when it comes to token allocation, vesting, all the stuff that you would see in like, a 2022, 2021 white paper. The key metrics were all laid out pretty well in a single spreadsheet. So kind of seeing that, I thought it'd be kind of a cool opportunity to try to turn it into a programmable format. So, it kind of coincided perfectly with the first grant round that the Token Engineering Commons did. Ended up, going to a couple calls to try to see if it would be possible to get some money. Ended up getting a little bit of funding, which was great. And worked on it for a little bit until Occam from Outlier Ventures, the one who initially launched the spreadsheet, caught wind. I was kind of messaging him on the side. He caught wind, and kind of it got the attention of him and his team. So then he ended up, getting some time to devote to the project through Outlier Ventures directly. So I don't know the exact date. I would say it was around June. Maybe it started in March. Maybe it was June when he kind of came on. So then, in general, just kind of been chugging away. And the last couple of months, we've been getting a couple more contributors, and yeah, now we're at a point where we have the base model all built. So I can actually share my screen. But actually, before going into that, one kind of fun fact about me, I guess, is I like to play volleyball, I like to ski. A meme coin that I like. Um, I was looking up a lot of analysis for Doge last night. I don't like love Doge. Like I might hold a little bit of Doge, but like I'm trying to, I think it's very interesting to see like Twitter analysis coincided with the price of a cryptocurrency. So I'm kind of going down that rabbit hole, and I think what better coin to look at for that type of correlation than Doge. Should I just hop right in, Nate, or is there any other?
No, that's perfect. Yeah, I always just like to have everybody kind of introduce themselves and kind of explain their journey. So we were, seeing you come through the TE grant rounds and kind of find a place with Outlier Ventures and start to tackle the subject of quantitative token models, I think is really awesome. So yeah, please do hop into the presentation with the demo. And
Yeah,
and if anybody has any questions, are you okay with that?
yeah, please.
Cool.
And yeah, also, super grateful to have gone through the pipeline of being someone that just kind of was exploring the community, saw an opportunity to get funded for something, and dove in. And I think that's the more opportunities you guys have for that, the more I think in general you'll attract contributors. So just putting that out there. But let's see here. So here's the original kind of article that was sent out. And basically what it is, it's kind of like a white paper, but a generalized white paper. So saying like some of the main things that you would look at when it comes to user adoption and token vesting and allocation, stuff like that. So based off that, this is kind of what the high level model looks like, how tokens move through the ecosystem, buying, selling different utilities, so on and so forth. This was later transformed into this spreadsheet. So with this spreadsheet, you can input in a bunch of values, and based on the inputs of values, you will see different plots that show your cash flow over time, maybe your user adoption, token holders, other sort of analysis, so on and so forth. Oh, I'm losing charging my headphones, but that's fine. Different ways of plotting it. So it's kind of a centralized way of doing that in a spreadsheet format. So in the next iteration is now we have this interface that we're building, and we have the full programmable model is already built. So if you're someone who's inclined from an engineering perspective, we do have the actual model published. It's on the Outlier Ventures code base, but we have the model all built, ready. And kind of the two avenues that we saw to go is either we can make this, we can make a good user interface for, a non-technical founder to leverage the tool, or we could go into the more programmable engineering route and kind of build a little more developer tools to let, more technical engineers supercharge the model. So that was kind of the two general directions we saw, and we thought it would be, from a not necessarily funding, but from a um, attractability of the project. We thought it would be just to go with the interface first, because going with the interface um, would it would support a larger group of individuals. It aligned more closely with Outlier Ventures values and their purpose for originally building it. And then we thought, if we were able to get some attention on the founder side, then it would be us as token engineers could keep adding on to the token engineering stack and kind of further push it. So we have it in this programmable format, and then we have so far the inputs are not all done, so it's not fully complete, but we're at this stage where you can name a project, you can put in some parameters, and then you could run the simulation in which it gives for the sake of, let's see if it'll let me do it. You can see some of my test cases are called please work because there's issues like every project. You can see the same plots and stuff that you would see in that Excel sheet. So while at this point it's basically a cleaned up Excel sheet that technically can, at this point it's a cleaned up Excel sheet that can scale to more people. That's kind of the current state. The future state is, how can we make it more, how can we let users supercharge it? So how could we change parameters? How could we leverage the data, the outputs, to really, give founders an understanding of what they're looking at? And then, yeah, that's really the next phase. We're still building out the interface, so there's a couple more things to go, but yeah, that's kind of the high level. Sorry if that was a little sporadic and not very directed. Is there any
No,
kind
no.
of questions, comments, or feedback?
Yeah, I guess my biggest thing is like, what do you see as like the ultimate vision for this type of tool, for like at its most optimal?
Yeah, so I think it's supposed to just solve a founder's pain points for when they're saying, when a founder's trying to raise money and they're trying to understand, you know, am I deciding if I'm going to use a token, build a token economy? Where do I start? How do I sell the token economy that I'm trying to build? Um, and kind of sell the sustainability of it. Because right now, if you're a founder and you're saying, oh, yeah, I want to launch a token, then the questions you're going to start getting, or at least the questions you should have answers to, is, what are the allocations going to be? What's the vesting going to be over time? What's all these kind of things? If you're doing a burn or some weird mechanics, how are those mechanics going to affect the token supply and affect the users? So it's really just trying to help a founder basically develop their pitch deck to say, this is, the high level metrics that we're aiming for. This is what our cash flow or revenue, this is what we're estimating it's going to look like. It's not supposed to be this like perfect price prediction. It's supposed to be how do we prevent the worst case scenario, and what's the, big pitfalls to avoid, and then what's the, general direction you're headed in.
Yeah, and so a lot of these are gonna have like you foresee having a bunch of different types of models that perhaps founders can look at and kind of
Yeah.
choose from of different kind of
Yeah.
frameworks of how to approach
Yeah.
their system. Is that okay?
Yeah, so the
Yeah,
goal
and so
so the goal is to
yeah, go ahead.
input a couple, like, templates. So, like, we'd have a couple templates, like, maybe, like, for example, Uniswap or something or whatever, and, like, obviously, the templates aren't gonna be perfect, but it's like, this is a starting point for any founder. And also you have in here, you can see there's, like, funding style, medium, aggressive. So there's some, like, ways that we're trying to make the user experience, like, tend to that founder. But like I said, this isn't supposed to be like once you use this tool, you'll never have to think about your token ever again. You're all good. It's this is how you can be prepared and like ask the right questions and get yourself in a position to have an informed ask when you're fundraising, or have an informed ask. Yeah, an informed ask of and an informed prediction of how the your economy or your business will perform relative to the economy.
Yeah, and so at its current stage, you have this kind of interface, and you're continuing to build. If there are like token engineers out there who are interested in like joining or helping out, I know you're working with Outlier Ventures right now on this, but uh, are there any ways for token engineers to kind of plug in and you know discuss things about building
Yeah, so
this out?
actually, I see Zaramba is on the call. She's been helping too. So we have a call that we host on a weekly basis where we kind of go over the issues of the week and kind of some of the next steps that we're working on. So if anyone is interested, message me on Twitter, message me on Discord, anything, and I can add you to this call. And that's basically it. We do that weekly call where it's a 30-minute stand up. We talk about, what we worked on, what we're trying to work on, and we just, we're plugging away. We're all part-time contributor. Well, I guess Occam's technically funded, but the rest of us are mostly part-time contributors. So, it's kind of an eat what you kill. Like we raised money. That's kind of our money. Like we're kind of just figuring it out. It's not like there's a very um, strong structure, roadmap, milestones, nothing like that. It's more of, we have a general direction. We're kind of following the Outlier Ventures North Star, just because Occam is the only fully funded person. So he definitely is the North Star at the current moment. But that doesn't mean like if someone wanted to build it in a certain direction, we wouldn't lean in that way. It's just a matter of the amount of attention being put on it is obviously going to be higher for the person that is funded to do so. So we are leaning in that direction a little bit.
That's awesome. Yeah, and if anybody in the audience, if you have a question, please do request to speak. I can add you up here. Would love to have you ask questions to him. Um, Also, is there any way for individuals like do you guys have like a timeline for when people will be able to interact with it, or are they able to interact with this interface now?
We do not have a timeline. We are trying to publish a case study within the next couple weeks. We should have like the GitHub repo is out there. So like if you want to go to the GitHub repo, fork it, and maybe not run the. I mean, you could run the interface if you want. That interface is not really done, but if you want to fork it and try to leverage it, like you know, like cheers to you. You go do that right now. We don't really. I wouldn't say it's fully set up for that. I do believe we have some documentation that would make that process easier. Not sure if I would know where it is. I hear documentation. So there is some stuff in here that should. I'm not gonna lie. I have not looked at this, so I'm kind of going in blind right now. But yeah, so there's some documentation. So if you were going in blind and you wanted to try to leverage it, you could leverage it right now. I would kind of say good luck. Like you might want to talk to us first, but yeah.
No, it's really awesome, and I know that we at the TEC are looking forward to the progress on this, and just we really appreciate you sharing updates and stuff. Um,
Yeah.
I I will once again ask if anybody in the audience would like to ask a question. Please do request to speak. Otherwise, we can keep moving forward with the community call. So I'll give to the count of five. There should be a request to speak button if you have one. Five. Oh wait, got one. Zaremba. Okay. Sent you an invite. I'm not exactly sure how the request to speak works within Discord. This is our second time using this stage, so apologies.
Oh, good.
Um,
It's a nice stage.
yeah, it is.
It'd be cool if they decked out the stage, made it look like a coliseum or something. Something that actually
It
looked
would
like
be
a
nice to have some visual component.
yeah, put all the heads like as like actual people in the stands. That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, so
And yeah,
Zarimba, I sent you an invite for speaking. If I think you may have to respond to it.
and one more thing to add in there while
Yeah.
you're figuring out how to get in. The real key here is like this is not a prediction tool, and I don't think really any of these modeling tools should necessarily be prediction. It's purely about how can we make better informed decisions and prevent clear pitfalls. That's kind of like the high level I'd want to say. Like from a founder perspective, how can you make informed decisions? How can you make an educated ask from a investor standpoint? And then how can you just avoid the obvious do's and don'ts? YGG, I see you made a comment. What's the go-to-market strategy? So because it's funded by Outlier Ventures and they're kind of the more of the attention, we don't necessarily have like a very strong go-to-market strategy. My kind of personal motivation is it would be nice to do some consulting work around it. So you already commented that out. So, ideally, if someone wanted a customized model, I could help them customize it and then add that module or whatever I customize for them, add it back to the underlying model. So it's kind of like all the boats rise every time, someone wanted a one-off gig. That's kind of my personal opinion. I've talked to Akim about it once to see if, Outlier Ventures could be a pipeline for that or some sort of channel. I'm not sure if it's going to be, but that's kind of one way. It's not, I definitely wouldn't say that this is like the next $1 million business, at least as of right now. That's not really the strategy. It's more of, we got public funding. Let's build this public good. If there's a way to monetize it and keep building on it, then, I'm here for it. If there isn't, then we'll probably be looking for the next adventure after a sustainable adventure.
That's awesome. Yeah. And Zarimba, okay, question.
Hi all, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I'm Zarimba. My pronouns are they them. My background is PhD in computer science. So it's more like computer science, machine learning. And what I wanted to say is I joined the team only very recently, but what I thought was absolutely fabulous is from the point of view of token engineers, I think for the community to grow, for the token engineering to sort of strengthen as a technology, as the like body of knowledge, I think it's very important to have a lot of growing, to have more tools that are publicly available where we can tool that was about by Outlier Venture is now joining the usage of Ratcat, which is a pretty powerful tool, and all of that is publicly available. So it is possible to have more discussions about that, to have more discussions about what are the best approaches, and I think that can really help for the token engineering to grow. So in terms of how the tool can be used, Ratcat allows very wide range of use cases. So I think that on one hand can be used to help maybe founders discuss on a very high level, to have visuals that make it easy to communicate with less technical audience, and also have the ability to run more complicated models, more complicated dynamics to expand and customize various modules. So I'm really excited about how strong and powerful that can work and how that can grow, and how much that can help to have very interesting discussions in the token engineering community. So it was more of a why I think this is interesting for token engineers rather than a specific question.
Oh, no worries. And Xerox Blackboard, do you have any thoughts on that?
No, yeah, I think this is a springboard. I think once like this bottom infrastructure is more or less a really good starting point for anyone to keep building on. Like I said, if this is like if there was consulting projects out there and was able to kind of get some stuff under, it's in all the boats rise where everyone can keep adding to this underlying layer, and then anyone can leverage it. So I do think that there is a really big, like we have this foundation now where we can start building this asset up. Like when it comes to, for example, just the vesting schedule, like having a vesting schedule in a programmable format is somewhat interesting because like we haven't even touched governance. And we also made it in a format where, the goal was to hopefully eventually get agent behavior in there. So what if, we're able to spawn in agents and have them, based on this vesting schedule, make governance decisions, and that could have some sort of other effect. And that could be just a whole nother thing where we're not even talking about, price and user adoption, all that stuff, but we're talking about, what, based on this governance strategy, like, is there vulnerabilities in how the vesting and allocation is initially set up, right? And at least we have that backbone of infrastructure of vesting and allocation to say, well, now we could build kind of anything on top of that. So I think there is a lot of core components here that can be kind of not to be the generic Lego pieces as most people say in Web3, but there's a lot of open source assets here that can be really leveraged by anyone. So yeah.
No, I'm really excited, especially about kind of this token engineering space that's really starting to blossom around kind of token design, just having tooling for token design exploration, and seeing this kind of expand in so many different ways. I think once it catches on, we'll move away from this whole like trial and error process in real time with tokens and say, hey, let's spend a good amount of time focusing on the tooling that is available to us to actually design our token economic system. And so I'm really excited about what the work you've been doing at Xerox Blockboy and then everybody at Outlier Ventures. So thank you guys for doing that. And we're looking forward to this tool being used in prime time. So yeah, is there anything that you wanted to add before we move forward?
Nope, I do have to run, but thank you all for taking the time to let us come up here. We'd love to come back when we have something deployed and readily available. We'd love to be able to come back and do that. Also, like I said, in the next couple of weeks, we'll have a case study. We have one case study that we're planning on doing that's around the founder pain points, but I'm assuming we'll do another one that's around like how we built this to kind of give other people that sort of visibility. So
yeah, we're definitely looking forward to it, and just want to say thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. All right.
Thank you for joining us. Yeah, and right now I'm going to invite Bear and Isaac up to the stage. If you don't mind, we're going to start with a community call. So we're going to start with the TEC updates. Right now we're going to give the State of the Commons update. Usually this is something that Gideon does, but it's centered around the internally focused announcements about the directions of planning regarding the Commons and its management. So a couple of the big things that we're really focused on right now is the OP migration, things like the reserve currency, and the Guardians, who are going to kind of be a group of people that are, stewarding the transition from Gnosis Chain to OP. And so I'm really excited to get into this. We do have a lot of forum post stuff. If you're interested in catching up on this topic or reading a little bit more about it, I encourage you to join our forum and learn a little bit more about it. But right now, I want to pass it over to Isaac to talk a little bit about another thing that's coming up, which is our token engineering grant round 3. So really excited about this round, and perhaps Isaac, you have any announcements or things to talk about?
Sure. Yeah. Hi everyone. Well, we closed round number 2 a few weeks ago. So far, we're pretty happy with how the grants round are just going. I think the need for this is fairly obvious, and we are a small team and all that. We've been pretty much just experimenting and going and taking it slowly. Um, and so now for round three is about to be announced. If I can share some alpha here today, it's going to be open for donations from November 15th to November 30th, approximately. Um, and we are in this round. It's going to be the first time we actually have sponsors. We'll announce them next week or probably the following once we announce the complete round. And that's quite frankly, that's at least for me one of the moves that I'm the most proud of, because it means that in the future we would be able to have rounds where projects uh, are the ones actually helping support the industry, so that we can afford to make these rounds forever. So far, it's been ourselves just putting the money out of the treasury to cover for the matching pool. Now some projects are starting to come on board to support the mission of token engineering. Um, I think that's pretty much all, at least for the round 3. We continue to do experiments with the matching boost and all that. We hope to have some more news soon as well. Um, but yeah, that's all. I'll pass it back to you, Nate. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah,
You go.
no worries. And Bear, you want to provide any updates for the TE opportunities area for the community?
Yeah, thank you, Nate. Yeah, I think most of them are what you've already mentioned. Invite people to join the forum and engage in the conversation. There's a lot of interesting topics in regards to migrating the TEC to optimism chain. And from that, there's a lot of different topics like which reserve currency should we use going forward, the discussion about guardians, the discussion about the parameters that we should use in the DAO. So there's a lot of juicy conversation that we invite everyone to join, as well as some other forum posts about changing the token of our common pool from XDAI to SDAI. A really nice forum post that NT put together, detailing all the benefits, all the financial benefits that the common pool and the TEC could get in the short term. So really interesting, really worth taking some time to take a look at it. Besides that, we also have the token engineering stakeholder study. It's still in the writing process. For what I know, it's on the last stages. So they are hoping to have something ready to release next month, probably at the end of November. So we'll keep you posted on that. And yeah, besides that, I don't have much more to say. I don't know if I'm missing anything, Nate or Isaac, but if not, I'll pass it back to you.
That's perfect. Yeah, and speaking of, since it's an active proposal, I was hoping that maybe Isaac, if you'd like to talk a little bit about this proposal to move our common pool from WrappedXI to SDAI, and what is SDAI, and what benefits do you see as we start to see this transition within the TEC economy and moving from Gnosis chain to OP, and what the active proposal is right now on Gardens.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I guess let's start with a bit of context. The TC uses the TC's common pool is denominated in wrapped XI, which is pretty much DAI from mainnet bridged to Gnosis chain. And so Maker a few months ago reintroduced the DSR, the day savings rate, where they take some of the profit they make from T-bills and other sources and give like this savings rate account to any DAI holder that decides to deposit DAI into the DAI vault. Um, Currently, that API, the API on SDAI in mainnet, in Ethereum mainnet, is 5%. And so it so happens that in Gnosis chain, the native currency, the currency to pay gas with, is DAI as well. So there's an enormous supply of DAI from the chain, and Gnosis thought that this would be a great opportunity to bring that API into the chain to sort of help bootstrap and raise sort of a DeFi movement within the chain, right? And so what they did that's pretty interesting is instead of moving savings DAI in a simpler way, they deposited all DAI in the bridge into the DSR in Maker. So all DAI in Gnosis is getting 5%, but um, the yield is distributed to SDAI holders in Gnosis. So that means that because there's always less SDAI in Gnosis than the total amount of DAI in the bridge, the API ends up being higher in the Gnosis side. Right now, it's currently just above 7%, like 7.1 something percent. And us having the whole treasury in DAI, I think it just makes sense to move it into SDAI and just get some additional yield on top of the money that's just sitting there. Um, I don't know if I explained the whole thing correctly, but yeah.
No, that was perfect. And so the proposal that's active right now is for the entire common pool that we have to transfer from wrapped XDAI to SDAI. So it becomes an interest-bearing asset at what, 7%. And so I think what is the amount that we're anticipating on earning on a monthly basis?
With the current amount, well, actually, one second. There's one question from Acid Laser first. He's asking if we plan to stake SDAI on Agave. There's one misconception that I think it's best if we take out of the way now, just in case. The first interface to interact with SDAI in Gnosis is Agave, and there's a lot of people that were sort of worried because Agave had a hack about now almost 2 years, I think, ago. The SDAI is a project from Gnosis, so there's no risks in there. Now, to your question as a laser, which I guess if we're going to deposit SDAI on top in Agave, I don't think so. I think that's too much risk exposure. I think that just having it in SDAI is enough, because it introduces barely any risk. It's almost risk-free yield. But if we start to ape in to too much stuff, we start to introduce a lot of smart contract risk and other potential risks. So I think that's probably no.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think this is a pretty safe play. And I just wanted to clarify with Acid Laser, yeah, like as Isaac said, the Agave is just an interface for the smart contract that was built by Gnosis, developed by Gnosis. And so I believe they have full audit on that. Is that correct, Vinti?
Sorry, say the last part again.
That Gnosis has like kind of the full audit on the SDAI contract, and this was not an Agave contract itself, but just an Agave interface. Is that right?
Yeah, I guess so. SDAI in Gnosis is a standard ERC20. So they just took the ERC20 template from OpenZeppelin, and so they didn't go through an audit for the token contract itself. But all the changes in the bridge to make this happen, um, they did an audit for all the changes in the bridge. By I think they had at least 2 or 3 audits. One of them is an internal audit from the Gnosis team, and the others are from third parties.
Yeah, gotcha. And so if anybody has like concern with smart contract risk and stuff, it's something worth looking into for sure. If you do have TEC tokens, this is an active proposal right now to vote on the transfer of this. So please, and we do have a forum post up if you want to engage further on this topic, or if you have a question, please feel free to raise your hand right now, but or add in the chat. But yeah, so if you want to engage with this topic further, or just state your opinion for the broader audience and token engineering community to engage with, then we will do that.
Yeah, and I guess just yeah, Sean. It should go by our governance process. We leave it on the forum for about 5 days, and then it goes on chain. So by next week, we should have it up.
Yeah, apologies. Sorry about that.
And let me just share the forum post on the chat that's there. And then to your initial question, Nate, by the current amount of money we have in the common pool and the current API, at least as of last night, I haven't checked today, we would be getting close to 2K a month. Not a huge amount of money, but better than nothing. So, and given this small risk, I think it's totally worth it.
Yeah, no, thank you. And I think it's really good that we have these types of discussions. And there are, as we start to move forward, we will have a lot of different discussions, especially regarding the OP migration, uh, changing the bonding curve to have a different reserve asset, perhaps even a yield bearing asset, which would be really interesting to have something like an LST. Um, and see how we design the next era of the token engineering economy. And so, really excited about all the changes that are being proposed here in the TEC. And if you have an interest in engaging with us on these topics, please do visit the forum. We really want to start getting a lot of conversations on that forum, and really kind of reaching out to broader token engineers within the ecosystem. So, thank you for that update, Anti, on SDI, and please do engage in the forum. I'm going to go over real quick upcoming events within the TEC. This past Sunday, I had the opportunity to do our first token engineering as public goods interview series on Twitter, or X, as an X space. So if you get a chance to listen to it, please do. I interviewed Jackson from Y Audit DAO. We discussed the kind of state of smart contracts in Web3, smart contract auditing in Web3, the kind of benefits and challenges that are associated with it, the market of smart contract audits. And so this was kind of our first episode of exploring different areas of token engineering from some experts in the field. And so we're going to continue this series, Token Engineering as Public Goods, with a bunch of different new interviews. The kind of list stacks up. And if you have any interest or like have any ideas of people who you would like to hear or listen to, please do send me a direct message of who they are, or a particular topic even within the field of token engineering that you'd like to learn more about. The whole idea here is to provide some educational pieces for people within the token engineering community to really learn from each other and to collaborate with one another as we move forward as an industry and as a small kind of engineering field. And so I think this is going to be a really fun thing to do. And so if you guys have any thoughts or ideas on that, please do provide feedback as well. But yeah, the first episode is up on Spaces. We'll have a YouTube video that we'll share here in the Discord. Outside of that, we will have, moving forward, we'll have 2 of these next month, 2 of the TEPG series interviews next month, and then we'll probably increase the amount of interviews after that as well. And so we're just kind of testing the waters, see what kind of engagement we get. But I hope you enjoyed that interview. And next month we'll have our community call is our other event, which will be the last Wednesday of each month. So the last Wednesday of each month we will hold our community call. That will be community call 103. And so we look forward to having you there. So in closing, guys, do you have any last closing thoughts on in terms of uh, call to actions or anything like that right now that we need to address?
Not so much, I guess. I would invite everyone to just keep an eye open for the following grants round, and also just to everything that's happening on the TE community. I think we are in one of the most interesting times we've been in a long time, and there's just a lot happening. Um, between the academy. So, for example, the academy just recently posted a recording from a CAD GPT project to make that they're making a large language model to handle simulations and stuff based on CAD. There's also they also released like a new course on reputation systems. There's also a lot of work coming out. The TC itself, like the grants program, the QF project we're working on, all the community events that Nate is coordinating, and a bunch of other stuff that we hope to share soon. And also, almost every grantee is working very hard to deliver the stuff they're being given grants for. So just keep an eye out, and thanks for joining today.
Yeah, and Bear, do you have any last thoughts or call to actions?
Yeah, no, just to thank everyone for joining here the community call. We really appreciate this audience, and we hope you keep engaging, participating in the different opportunities and through the different avenues that we are trying to build for you. And yeah, nothing much to say. Thank you, Nate, as well. Thank you to Blockboy, although he's not here anymore. But thank you for this great call as always.
Yeah, and if anybody else has any questions, please do hit the request to speak button or place it in the chat. We will be wrapping up this community call after. So, as I said, please do get engaged in the forum. Keep an eye on our token engineering public goods and other community events that are coming around the corner. And if you'd like to engage more, please don't hesitate to message one of us here on the coordination team. So thank you everybody for joining us today, and look forward to talking to you next month.